Hey guys, Craig here with an assessment guideline task sheet for you to help out with the Nutrition Assessment 2 Dietary Trends report. So this is a assessment that revolves around you researching a diet trend that you would like to learn more about. And this little video here is designed to give you a template to work from and ensure you can get the best mark possible for this one. So here you see the document for the assessment, analysis of a common dietary trend. Makes up 30% of your nutrition mark overall. The idea of this is that you'll research some information around this dietary trend from some reputable sources, and I'll show you some information about how to find reputable sources soon. First things first, you want to get every drop of the marks that you can, and 10% of the marks come from the presentation guidelines here. So first thing I would do is set up a doc with Century Gothic size 10, 1.5 line spacing, and to help you out with that, I have developed this little dietary trends assignment template. So it starts with the title page here. You would see that you would simply have to put in a topic. So let's say for mine, I'm going for the ketogenic diet. The author would of course be me. Spelled right. And then we move on down, and it goes into the next part here, which we'll come back to in a moment. So that Word doc is already set up with Century Gothic size 10. It's got 1.5 line spacing. As long as you follow that template, you can't do much wrong there. Okay. You can see that this particular assessment is looking for a minimum of around 1,500 words, and that some images can be used as well to support the content. So we're looking for a main body, an introduction, a main body, and some conclusions there, along with some references into the assessment itself. So you can see you can choose from some common dietary trends. These are not limited to this list right here, but here are some common ones that you might look for. If you want to choose something that's not on this list, just simply square that off with your tutor and make sure that it's something that I guess there's going to be some decent information, some scientific articles that are out there. The most limiting factor for this assignment would be to choose something too new in the science that hasn't had any scientific evidence sort of around studies being done for it yet. Okay, so into the first part here, you can see the introduction, a brief section introducing the dietary trend that you've chosen, which may include the following information: why have you chosen the diet, a short summary of what the diet involves, and who is likely to use the diet. Now, things you need to be really familiar with when writing a written report here at NZIS is there is the task that's here, but even more important than the task is the rubric. Okay, and this is the marking rubric that you will be marked off. And if we look at the introduction, it's worth 20% of the total assignment. The student provided a thorough introduction to the chosen topic. The diet summary is clear and concise, and reasons for choosing the topic are explained in detail. Now, to ensure that you get the maximum mark for that, I'm going to click back over to my dietary trends assignment template here, and if you were to answer these questions, now of course I don't want these bullet points in your assignment, okay, I want you to replace these with written paragraphs, but in your introduction you should answer what is the diet you've chosen with specific details about that diet. Okay, who is likely to be using this diet in your opinion right now? What are your personal opinions about this diet from what you have heard? Why have you chosen this diet to research? And what can the reader, i.e. me, expect to find out about this diet if I read the rest of this report? That would ensure that you score a 4 in excellent by answering those questions there in full. Okay, so that is the body of your introduction. Now, this introduction should be written before you do any research. It's really important that this introduction is really from your own perspective. Next, in the summary research, you will be diving into what the research says. Okay, and then at the end of the article, your written article, that's when you're going to be talking about conclusion and whether or not you still believe what you thought at the start. Okay, so that's the introduction. The next part, if we go back into the assignment here, is the summary of research. And here's the task, a written summary which describes the dietary trends in detail, using information from at least 5 different sources. These can include websites, textbooks, journal articles, videos, podcasts, etc. It's then got some bullet point lists here for what your summary should include. A thorough explanation of the dietary trend. Maybe we go into more detail than we did in the intro, which just was a concise and sort of brief overview. why people are choosing this diet. What we're talking about there is the benefits. Okay, so what are the benefits that are suggested from the science? Okay, so now we're not dealing with anecdotal, we're not dealing with what you've heard, we're dealing with what the scientific evidence of the studies that have been performed in this diet area have said. We're also interested in balancing out this report by looking at some potential risks that could occur from adherence in the short or long term to this diet. And then finishing with this last point here, some comments around which population members are likely to use this diet and why, based off the information in those research articles that you've read. Okay, so there's a few things we need to do to get cracking on the summary of research. If we just go back into the template here, summary of research, find at least 5 quality articles that come from reputable sources. That's your first step, is to actually find the articles. Is there enough quality information out there to be able to complete this assessment? Now, this is not anecdotal evidence. This is not sales pitches from the different websites that you can go to. I want you to use one of a couple of search engines for this here. And the first one is something called Google Scholar. Let me show you that now. So if we go into just normal Google and we write in Google Scholar and we hit that, it'll bring up an option here for Google Scholar that you can click on. And now you'll notice Google has changed to Google Scholar. This is for scientifically legitimized publications, I guess. So this takes out all of the fluff, all of the website fluff, the blogging and all that kind of stuff. If I was then to put in something that I'm interested in reading about, so ketogenic diet, and I might start by looking at benefits of the ketogenic diet. Let's start with that. Okay, so it starts with this one here. Now, a couple of things I can tell you here. You might notice these little PDFs and HTML documents on the side. Now, this means that the full article is freely available to you if these are here. Whereas if you're in this situation here, you may not get the full article. You might be limited to just an abstract. Benefits of the ketogenic diet. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is an article. It comes from NG Nutra. I'm not 100% sure what that is. Would I call this a reputable source? At this stage, no. I'm going to see who's written it. Joel Jansen. I don't know anything about Joel Jansen, and already this thing is trying to sell me some stuff. I'm actually going to leave it there. I'm looking for something more evidential than that straight away. Next, I'm going to have a look at this one here. What do we got? Medical articles by Dr. Ray. Again, I don't know who Dr. Ray is. Might be worth a look later, but again, not an evidential peer-reviewed type journal. So, ketogenic diet for treatment of childhood epilepsy, a randomized controlled trial. Now, I can tell you when you see things like randomized controlled trials, now you're getting into some peer-reviewed type articles. Okay, so how do you tell when something is a peer-reviewed type article? Well, number one, you look at the publication that it comes from, okay, and then you can usually read that at the bottom of the page. This is from Neurology, .thelancet.com. Again, not hugely familiar with this, but generally what you're looking for here, guys, is an abstract to start with that gives you an indication of what we're looking at. So this is a very specific area related to children. And if we look at the methodology, 145 children between 2 and 16 who have daily seizures. So this is looking at ketogenic diet as a treatment for that. So could be an interesting point or two to pull out of this. You know, we see one benefit would be, or who could this be for this diet, depending on what the findings of this were. And if we have a look through really quickly, after 3 months, the mean percentage of baseline seizures was significantly lower in the diet group than the controls. All right, now we can go into the document here, look at the methodology a wee bit. We can look at particularly the findings, is what I'm interested in, and the discussion down here. Now, if just going off that little piece from the abstract there is anything to go by, it would seem that this would be a beneficial diet, at least for young people with epileptic seizures. There is a benefit, and there is a population group that could benefit from this. We'd want to delve into that a little more deeply before we made a definitive statement there, though. Okay, another one on seizures here. Benefits of non-fasting ketogenic diet can be with initial fasting, really what I'm after. Epilepsy again. Okay, well, if I think back to why are a lot of people doing this, maybe we can refine our search a little bit. Okay, What if we went with the ketogenic diet and weight loss, which would be a reason why a lot of people, I think, would try the ketogenic diet. Okay, now we get into some things around hoax or effective tool. Effects of a high-protein ketogenic diet on hunger, appetite, and weight loss. Okay, so this is on obese men. Let's have a look at this one. Again, it's got the link on the side, which will give us the full. This is the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. This is definitely a reputable source, published in 2008. Have a quick look at the abstract here. The objective, we're comparing the hunger, appetite, and weight loss responses of a high-protein, low-carbohydrate diet, ketogenic, to those on a high-protein, medium carbohydrate diet. Okay, so the carbohydrate option here, which of course is the one thing that is cut dramatically lower in a ketogenic diet. What happened? Energy intakes were lower on the low-carb diet than on the medium-carb diet. Okay, over the 4-week period, hunger was significantly lower and weight loss significantly greater with the low-carb diet. Okay, so that looks like some pretty good information there. In the short term, a low-protein, high-protein, low-carbohydrate ketogenic diet. Now, again, you have to weigh this up with what your understanding of a ketogenic diet is. Now, you might have written in your introduction and in the first part of this summary that, of course, a ketogenic diet, in my understanding, is more like 75% fat. Not a high-protein diet, I wouldn't consider it. So does this run in line with what you're actually trying to find the answer to? I'll leave that to your capable hands. Now, other things we can do at this point is, what if I really like this article and I wanted more like this article? There's two things I can do. One is I could go to the bottom of the article, and what do you find at the bottom of articles here? You find references. And if we were to get into some of these references here, and we'll go to some of the top ones that say here, low carbohydrate, randomized trial, low carbohydrate, any more on the keto, I'd have a look through. So it looks like, from the perspective of this one, if you're just taking straight low carbohydrate diet, then there's going to be a lot of information on here. But pure keto, I'm not seeing a reference to pure keto on this one here, so I might go back. Okay, now, can you draw things from a low-carbohydrate diet-based article? Of course you can, because the ketogenic diet is. Now, you look in some of the stuff here, you can see mention of ketogenic diet versus a low-fat diet. So, effects of a low-carb versus low-fat diet on weight loss, cardiovascular risk, etc. Meta-analysis. Now, meta-analysis, if you see that, guys, is a review of a lot of the articles that have been done to this point. So, I'll just jump into this one as one other example. So meta-analysis are probably amongst the most useful articles that you're going to find, because this is looking at a whole bunch of studies, so 5 trials, including 447 individuals, and they're giving you their conclusions based on it here. Okay? So, step 1, Google Scholar is a great tool to use. Now, I've actually provided you with another tool here as well. So you'll see here that there's a link in here. Okay, so this one here is Nutrition, Journal of Biomed Central. Okay, and if I click on that link, it should open up. The great thing about this site is that everything on it is in full article form. Just waiting for it to kick in there. And again, you can see here I've done a search for ketogenic diets there, resulted in 7 hits, and here we can find the full articles as well. Okay, so what are we hoping to get from that? Here's what we're hoping to do. We would start with the 5 articles and find them, a really good definition of what the diet is, okay, so in a little bit more context there, a little bit more depth and detail, and then crack in using this as a subtitle, proposed benefits of, in my case, the ketogenic diet. And here is where we should highlight any benefits of that diet from the research articles that we've found. Now, every time we draw something from one of those articles, we need to make sure we reference it. In the first instance, what you can do is take, at the very least, if I just go back into here and I was to go into one of these guys here, the very least you should do at this point is to copy and paste, and I'm just up in the toolbar that you can't see here right now, copy and paste right to the bottom of the document the link. Okay, so you can see a link in here, and that way you can go back and add to this link later, but at least you'll be able to find that information at a later date. You don't need to fully reference at this point here. Okay. So we're going to go through the proposed benefits. How do you write about it? Well, as a suggestion here, if it's a single author article, you would start with the last name, in this case Wilson, the year 2018, and suggests. So Wilson 2018 suggests, and you would put in paraphrase, writing what you gleaned from that article. Okay. If there were two authors involved, Wilson and Burrow, 2018 stated, that's for two authors, and if there's more than two authors, you can use the term et al. Here, okay, as a means of showing it's Wilson and other authors. Okay, 2018 found that, da da da. Okay, alternatively, if you find the same information from multiple articles and you don't want to just say the same thing in 3 different paragraphs, you can write what you found. For example here, the benefits that I've found suggest in the research I've read include a lowering of cholesterol, reduced cardiovascular risk, improved blood sugar and insulin sensitivity, and better appetite control. And here you'll see I've listed the different articles that I found them from. So Wilson et al. 2018, Burrow 2015, Matthews et al. 2009. That means that all 3 of those articles found the same benefits. Okay? It would also be great if you gave an idea of what the study you were talking about did. So a little bit about the methodology. So going back into these kind of full articles here, guys, remember you got the methodology here. 116 people, okay, who were overweight, who were between 18 and 65, to see what kind of range you can get that you can talk about in these benefits. Are they true only of children with epilepsy? Are they true in obese female populations as well? Are they true in older people? You know, the broader the range you can give, then the better quality the information is. Okay, so Wilson 2018 compared the ketogenic diet to a typical Western diet in 16 healthy non-obese subjects. The study was conducted over 10 days and found that Okay, the fact that the sample size was very small and the duration of the study was short may limit the usefulness of these findings. So if it was a very short study and it was done on very few people, you should note that, and that's called addressing the validity of the study, and that's saying, look, if I've got 2 opposing points that come out, one saying there's all these risks and one saying there's all these benefits, which am I more likely to believe? Maybe the larger trial that was done over a greater period of time on a certain population group. Alright, so we start building our benefits in and we start writing up and refining the way that we're putting it all together. Next you move on and do potential risks using the exact same principles as the one above. Okay, so deal with the benefits first, then deal with the risks. And then I'd also like you to do some comment around athletic performance. So are there any considerations you can take from the literature suggesting the use of this around athletic performance? Because at the end of the day, is this just a diet that's used for aesthetics? Is it a diet that's used for weight loss? And can you then apply that same diet in the athletic forum? And in many cases we can't, yet we still see lots of athletes trying to utilize these diets, often to their detriment. So, what do you need to score well? If we go down to here, the student has analysed 5 or more pieces of literature and includes a total of 10 quotes or passages. Okay, so 10 times you've made reference to articles in there. Only high quality resources have been used and the information has been clearly understood. So you've really tried to stick to peer-reviewed journal articles. I would accept things like a podcast or a video, a TED Talk or something if it was an esteemed scientist or an esteemed researcher that we can back up their background and that they've published in this area multiple times. And then other than direct quotes, which I don't want to see large swathes of, all the students' words were their own. So you were able to package that information together using the techniques that I've just showed you. Final section, conclusion. I want you to write about the following, please. Can this diet be implemented as a healthy lifestyle choice, yes or no? Who would get the most benefit from it? And also, who shouldn't do it? and you should link this back to the research. You should restate some of the key points that led you to this conclusion. Finally, weighing up the research you've completed, the benefits and the risks, has your opinion of this diet changed to what you wrote in your introduction at the top? Okay, so this doesn't have to be particularly long. This part of the assignment, you can see in here, thorough conclusion and recommendations supported by information from all the resources. So it means you've read what you've written and you've made a practical and appropriate conclusion based on what's been said there. The only thing you can really do wrong here is continue blindly down a path of belief in something, even in the face of research that says quite clearly that you shouldn't be doing that. So, the worst case situation here would be you, in your introduction, being quite biased towards something because you've tried it. And then, even though there's a lot in the science to suggest that maybe it's not as good as you thought, continuing down that route saying, I still believe this just because. I mean, that wouldn't be an acceptable conclusion at the end of it. So, I'm hoping that you'll show some common sense in that regard. The student shows clear knowledge of the topic and has clearly understood the research they've read. That's how you get a 4 there. Okay? And then finally, all presentation guidelines are adhered to. Well, if you follow the format that I've put in the example document, you'll be fine there. And spelling and grammar is excellent throughout. Use your spell checks and, have someone read over it for you. Always a great way to do it too. Finally, referencing, and this is one that often students put in the too hard basket. Okay, so I'm going to give you a very clear example here of how to do this. So what I'd like, authors, last names and initials. Okay, so this time you do list all the authors. Full stop, year, full stop, the title of the article, the publication it came through in italics here, the retrieval date, so when did you retrieve it from that website, and what is the website link. Okay, and you can see an example here, Madden, G. 2002. Internet Economics and Policy, double colon, an Australian perspective. Economic record is where it came from. Retrieved October 16, 2017 from this website. And if I click on that website, it should take me directly to the article. Alright team, trying to give you every opportunity here to score the best that you can in this assignment. Okay, so use this video and this template to your advantage. Where do you find it all? Just tap back into here. Here's the Moodle page, guys. You'll find it right here. Number 1, the Dietary Trends article search link. Okay, and then the Nutrition Dietary Trends Assessment Guide, which will take you straight to this document here. Of course, this video is also going to be up on the Moodle site too for you to click on. Thanks for your attention, guys. Good luck with the assignment. Can't wait to read them. Thank you.